Hey guys, what's up? The Jock of all trades crew here, ready to bring you guys a quick recap of what went down yesterday in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. We've got a new member with us this time. Saurav, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Saurav, and many of the members here call me the Rage Monster since I have a couple of unique takes about teams that fans of those teams don't normally like to hear.
For those of you guys who don't know, the draft is an opportunity for NFL teams to bring in new talent and new athletes from colleges across the country. And this year's draft, due to the coronavirus, is taking place in a fully virtual format.
All right, so to kick off the virtual draft, the Cincinnati Bengals selected quarterback Joe Burrow from LSU, which was the most anticipated move of the draft and also a no-brainer, frankly, for the Cincinnati Bengals, considering that they're such a lowly team. So a little bit about Joe Burrows. Before last year, he was projected to be a sixth-round pick, but last year, following a spectacular senior season, he threw for over 5,600 yards and 60 touchdowns. And he ultimately won the Heisman Trophy, which is the equivalent of the MVP award. Muthu, do you want to elaborate?
So, I've got a lot of respect for Joe Burrow. I mean, he turned his career around and he became the first pick in the NFL. And a lot of people think that he's going to save the Bengals. But, to be frank, they were 2-14 last year. I mean, granted, that's 2 more wins than anyone thought they would have. But I just can't see him changing their franchise so that they become a playoff-worthy team.
I agree with you there, but at the same time, the Cincinnati Bengals have to they have to start planning for their future, and he's definitely a potential face of their franchise. Sure, you can't expect them to automatically become a Super Bowl contender for the following season, but I think it's a good first step.
All right, so after the Bengals picked Burrow, the Washington Redskins chose defensive end Chase Young from Ohio State, and then the Detroit Lions picked Jeff Okudah, who is a cornerback also from Ohio State.
So Vishnu, I actually did like these moves from both of these teams. I would just like to remind any of those poor Redskins or Lions fans out there who kind of were very hopeful after the draft of getting a solid defensive prospect, so that defense, sure, it can win championships, but you need a good quarterback and you need good management. And the 49ers, they have great management. I mean, they've got a head coach they stole from the Patriots, yet they still can't win, so I don't know what's going to make them win. The Redskins, they've got their whole host of problems that I really don't want to get into, because that would make this video about probably 15 minutes long. So let's just move on.
Yeah, okay, all right. I just want to add something before we go on. So you mentioned that the Lions stole the defensive coordinator from the Patriots to be their head coach. And not only did they do that, but now they've just been stealing Patriots players. These players, they come into Belichick's system, and Belichick, greatest coach of all time, turns them into great prospects, gets them paid. And the thing is, then they get stolen by the Detroit Lions, because the Detroit Lions are the wannabe Patriots, except no one can be the Patriots. No one is at that level. No one is good enough to be the Patriots.
I mean, the Patriots are kind of sucky right now, so I wouldn't be talking that much.
No one is good enough to be the old Patriots.
After the Lions picked Okudah and the New York Giants picked offensive tackle Andrew Thomas, the Miami Dolphins went ahead and picked Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. There's definitely no question about Tua's talent, but there are concerns about his injury history. Over the course of his college career, he had more than 6 injuries, and they're all pretty severe ones. So what are you guys' thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, so I think Tua, he definitely is a good quarterback overall. But when you come into the NFL, I mean, guys just go after the quarterback. There's no stopping. These defensive linemen are often 300 pounds. And if Tua is going to be well protected in the pocket, hopefully, I mean, the Dolphins, their management is horrible, but hopefully they can get some good offensive linemen to protect him. I just worry about when he's going to go out of that pocket, and if someone hits him right on that dislocated hip, there might be some serious issues to his career.
And I mean, he's also joining the Dolphins, and the Dolphins haven't been relevant in a very, very long time. I mean, they've been at the bottom of the AFC East with, okay, Patriots, fine. Yeah, Patriots are always going to be at the top. But they also have the Bills and the Jets, and it's not that hard to be better than those teams. But the Dolphins have been consistently at the bottom, at have they had more than 5 wins? Have they had more? That's a genuine question. I don't know. But yeah, an injury-prone quarterback isn't going to do much. And they also have Devontae Parker, who's probably one of the best receivers in the league, if he's on a good team. And they've just kept him trapped there and he hasn't been able to do anything good with his career because he's been on such a trash team.
I don't know if I would be trash talking the Dolphins. That was a Patriots fan right now. I mean, that description you just gave of the Dolphins right now, that sounds like where the Patriots are heading in the next couple of years. I mean, their starting quarterback is a guy who hasn't played a snap in the NFL.
No. He's played a snap. It's just his drive led to a pick six, but like he's played some snaps. Garbage time. We count that.
I guess the garbage quarterback for garbage time.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, but I guarantee next season the Dolphins will have more wins than the Patriots, and then we'll play this clip back when we.
I will take that bet. How much money you want to put on it?
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers then traded up one pick to select the offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs at 13. He is the most athletic offensive lineman in the draft. There was actually a video played during the broadcast that showed him jumping out of a pool with a clean landing. And just to put it into perspective, he's over 300 pounds. And ironically, he'll be protecting the league's least athletic quarterback in Tom Brady.
All right, Tom Brady maybe not very athletic, but that's because he gets the throws done in the pocket and he gets the job done. I mean, think about it. You've got Tom Brady, greatest of all time, that's uncontested. Then you have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Those are two Pro Bowl wide receivers. Then you also just got star tight end Rob Gronkowski. I mean, that stacked of a lineup. Super Bowl win. Done. Ring. Nope. Put it on their fingers right now.
All right, first of all, the Buccaneers defense is lackluster. It's very, very average. And if I asked you to name 2 players on their defense right now, I bet you wouldn't be able to.
Shaquille Barrett, 19.5 sacks. And
Yep.
Wait, Ndamukong Suh. There, that's 2.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, their defense isn't very good. And Tom Brady last year, he was a subpar quarterback. He was below average. And I frankly don't think he's good anymore.
Oh, by the way, the Bucks are my second favorite team. Just putting that in there. I'm just very excited for them, on behalf of them. They need their fans.
Bandwagon.
Second favorite. Just emphasizing that.
All right, so after the Buccaneers picked up Tristan Wirfs, the 49ers drafted South Carolina defensive end Javon Kinlaw. Kinlaw's coming in as a replacement for DeForest Buckner, who the team traded away to the Colts a couple weeks before the draft. I personally, as a 49ers fan, was a little bit sad to see the team pass on stud wide receivers CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, and it was a little bit surprising to actually see them available at this point in the draft. But what are you guys' thoughts on this pick of Kinlaw?
Yeah, so similar to you, Vishnu, I was also sad to see them pass on those amazing studs, Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. But ultimately, their move does make sense because they do still have to fill the void left behind by DeForest Buckner. Their move to trade him away to the Indianapolis Colts was a good move because ultimately he would have been too expensive, and Javon Kinlaw would definitely be a lot cheaper than he would be. With regards to those wide receivers, ultimately the 49ers did select Brandon Ayuk, who has some potential talent, who would also play alongside Deebo Samuels, Kendrick Bourne, as well as the likes of tight end George Kittle.
Wait, the 49ers have a pretty good defense, don't they, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good, like second.
I mean, you could never have too many defensive linemen. The 49ers have drafted 5 defensive linemen in the first round of the last 6 drafts. It's worked out pretty well for them in the long term. So
And how'd that defense do in the Super Bowl?
They did pretty good. The Chiefs were dropping like 40 on everyone, and the Niners defense came in. They played really solid. I think the Chiefs all ended up scoring 20 points. I also just want to add that for the people who are like, Ayuk is significantly worse than Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, Kyle Shanahan after the first round said that Ayuk was one of the top 2 receivers on his board, and that he was willing to pick him even at 13 if Kinlaw wasn't available. So apparently Kyle Shanahan thinks that Ayuk will be really good for the team. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they end up using him.
Doesn't he have an abnormal wingspan or something? It's 9 inches.
What they said during the draft was that he is 6 foot and he has an 81-inch wingspan, and Calvin Johnson, who is 6'5", has an 82-inch wingspan. So got some pretty long arms.
Calvin Johnson, another player ruined by the Detroit Lions. But okay.
So Jerry Jeudy, who Vishnu just talked about, actually ended up being picked as the 15th overall pick. I was actually very excited to see how Judy would do in the draft. Alabama has had a history of getting good running backs / wide receivers. Not really quarterbacks, I wouldn't go that far, but they've got Derrick Henry, who's performed really well. Now Judy. Unfortunately, I've been lamenting the loss of Judy right after the draft, because he's actually was selected by the Denver Broncos. He could have been like a Deebo Samuel, but behind a young, inexperienced quarterback like Drew Lock, I don't think he'll be touching the ball very much. It'll be interesting to see whether Drew Lock makes it through the next season or if he has to quit.
He's a rookie. He's a baby. He's a baby in the NFL.
Why is Saurav saying about Drew Lock so much? It's literally the guy's second year in the NFL now. He wasn't even that bad last year. But yeah.
Oh, please. The Broncos were atrocious.
I guess you made it clear, though, in the intro that people don't really or contest your opinions a lot, so fair enough.
All right. We'll move on to the final pick that we're going to talk about, and probably one of the most surprising. The Green Bay Packers selected quarterback Jordan Love at pick number 26. And this is hypothetically to replace their, as many of you may know, their star quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't been a problem, but they still decided to pick a quarterback in the first round. So what do you guys think of that?
I'm just going to jump in here, and I don't know, I didn't like this pick that much. The Packers made it to the NFC Championship last year, of course. They were destroyed by the 49ers, but still, to make it there, you have to be a really solid team. And I think Rodgers still has a lot of years left in his career, which he can play at a high level. And the fact that the Packers chose to plan for the future instead of making the most of their Hall of Fame quarterback and getting him new weapons was an interesting choice. I think I would have definitely picked like a wide receiver or something and just given Rodgers an opportunity to win in whatever years are left in his career.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Vishnu. I feel as though the Packers should have opted for another offensive weapon in addition to Devontae Adams, because Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers alone cannot carry a team to the Super Bowl, especially with the 49ers standing in their way. And I feel as if Jordan Love, sure, he might be the future of the Packers, but right now it isn't the best move for them.
All right, guys, so that about wraps it up for this recap of the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. We also did some live coverage on Harker Aquila, and we have some more in-depth analysis there. So if you want to check that out, harkeraquila.com. And yeah, thanks for listening.
So I just, side note, I'd just like to apologize on behalf of Saurav for any emotional damage caused to any fans of the teams he's completely obliterated. So, yes, get some ice cream, watch a sad movie, you'll survive. Yeah. Your teams might not, but you'll survive.